Namo Adita Phat. Thanks so much for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This wonderful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I'm determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. For our Dharma lesson, we're reading More Than Mindfulness, Widening the Field of Practice by the Monastics of the Thai Forest Sangha. We're continuing tonight in a talk by Ajahn Jayasaro called The Paramis as Practices of Liberation. The next parami is khanti, forbearance or patient endurance, the virtue referred to by the Buddha as the supreme incinerator of defilements. There's a famous folk hero in Thailand called Sri Thanachai. At one time, while Sri Thanachai was ordained as a monk, the king announced a competition to see who could summarize the Buddha's teachings most concisely. Monks and sages came from all over Thailand. Finally, it was Sri Thanachai's turn. He got up on the Dhamma seat, gave the Namo Tassa invocation, and then summed up the whole teaching in 3 terms. Patient endurance, patient endurance, patient endurance. And then, following the traditional ornate phrase by which Dharma talks are ended, he descended from the Dharma seat. Sri Thanachai won the prize. Most people assume that Ajahn Chah spent his days giving wise and profound teachings. The image is of him walking through the monastery with his walking stick, turning to somebody, smiling, and saying something incredible that changes their life forever. That did happen, but actually not so much. His Dhamma talks were often quite repetitive and went into great detail about things like monastic regulations and how to use them in the development of mindfulness. When I was first in Thailand, I couldn't yet understand the Dhamma talks. There was one phrase I could hear more than any other, ot ton. One day I asked a senior Western monk what it meant. He said, patient endurance. That was very much what Ajahn Chah was emphasizing, more than almost anything else. You can be mindful that something unwholesome has arisen in your mind, but if you have never developed the ability to withstand the siren call, the temptation of defilement with patient endurance, then that moment of mindfulness is wasted. It is swept away by craving. Khanti is, in Lumpur Sumedho's phrase, the skill of peacefully coexisting with the unpleasant. It doesn't mean gritting your teeth until something comes to an end, but to endure calmly, to be fully present with the disliked without struggle. Practicing it, you realize that you don't have to get so flustered, oppressed, and depressed because things aren't going your way or things aren't how you'd like them to be. In certain circumstances, although you can't do anything about the unpleasant event, you do have the capacity not to buy into it, not to take it so seriously. It's just like this. It's all right. It's bearable. Often the critical factor is how you deal with the voice in your head saying, I can't take this anymore. It's too much. It's too much. Often all you have to do is to calmly reply, why? Are you sure? No, it is okay. It's all right. Learning how to talk to yourself intelligently is another aspect of wisdom and is a great support of patient endurance. Wisdom is always needed. Patient endurance is not always the right strategy. Sometimes you shouldn't bear with something. Sometimes you should say no or change what you're doing. Patient endurance always needs to be supported by wisdom, which tells us when and when not to exercise it. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Namo Adira Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.